I will call today's Utility Service Board meeting to order. The City of Bloomington Utilities' mission is to enhance the quality of life in our community by providing safe, sustainable, and high-quality drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater services in a cost-effective manner, promoting public health, economic vitality, and environmental stewardship. If any board member has any personal or financial conflict with any issues or individuals on the agenda, then please be sure to recuse yourself during those portions of the meeting. Are there any petitions and communications from the public? No, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the May 19th bid opening. Do we have any questions or comments on the May 19th bid opening? Hearing none, do we have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes of the May 19th bid opening. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Thank you. Minutes of the bid opening are approved. We also have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on May 19th. Are there any questions or comments on the regular meeting on May 19th?
I move approval of May 19th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the regular meeting minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Excuse me. Not nay.
Not nay. Wicked. Remix of the nay. The regular meeting minutes are approved from February or May 19th. Easy for me to say. Moving on to the approval of the claims. First, we have standard invoices for a total amount of $915,307.85. Are there any questions or comments on these standard invoices?
Two questions. The first is at the bottom of page 2, City of Bloomington Interdepartmental Agreement 2023. It's all on water. Just wondering if that's correct.
It is, because we're paying the water in 4 installments this year. So we paid this, all the sewer the first time we went through, and this is the second of 4 payments.
Sounds familiar.
Yep.
Second one is on the top of page 8, Stan Tech for testimony in the water rate case. I was just wondering what their role is.
Their role is, so there's, we have 3 professional organizations, I would say. We have a legal firm that's going to help represent us at the IURC. And then we have another firm that's putting together our revenue requirements. And then Stantec is going to do the cost of service study after we get the revenue requirements. And the cost of service study is when it says that the revenue requirement says we need this big of a pie to do our projects. And then the cost of service people decide who's going to pay what part of that pie.
Thank you.
Yep.
Move approval of standard invoices for today.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Standard invoices are approved. Moving on to utility bills for a total amount of $25,064.67. Are there any questions or comments on the utility bills?
I move approval of utilities for May 29th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Utility bills are approved. Next, we have wire transfers for a total amount of $528,045.37. Are there any questions on the wire transfers? Hearing none.
I move approval of wire transfers for June of 25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Wire transfers are approved. Lastly, we have customer refunds for a total amount of $5,454.43. Are there any questions or comments on the customer refunds?
I move approval of customer refunds for June 6th.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Customer refunds are approved. Thank you all. Item number 5 on our agenda is approval of this consent agenda for a total amount of $5,763. Catherine Zager.
Good evening, I'm Catherine Zager, Utilities Director. I'm presenting tonight's consent agenda totaling $5,763. The first contract is with Smith's Design Group for $2,500 for plat amendment to Canterbury Lot 5 in order to vacate a portion of conservation easement. Next is with Brehop Corporation for $1,963 for a new oil water separator at Monroe Water Treatment Plant. Last is with Electric Plus Inc. for $1,300 for work on the low service tower at Monroe Water Plant. Is there any member who wishes to consider one or more of these items individually? Hearing none, if there's no opposition, these items will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. Item number 6 is a request approval of resolution 2025-08 to designate surplus property for auction. Matt Havey.
Yeah, we got several vehicles that we're wanting to auction off. In the description, it says not used, but a better description is repairing them's too expensive. There's one that needs like a $20,000 engine, so we're just trying to get rid of these things. So.
Any questions or comments?
I just was wondering when you get the money for this, will you let us know what?
Oh, we get it all the time. Yeah, I mean,
because usually it's like, old filing cabinet, broken CD, and like, this is something that might get some money for parts.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I know that you approved the loader maybe not last meeting or 2 meetings ago, and I know that we got like $46,000 for that loader.
You said 46?
Yeah.
Great, and what are we gonna do with that?
Find a project.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments for Matt?
All right, I move we approve resolution 2025-8 for surplus property.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor for approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Request is approved. Thank you, Matt. Next, we have request approval of water main replacement prioritization list. Phil Peden.
I'm really tempted to go break a CD and see how well I do in the bid.
They're old if they're CD, right? So it's like, okay, we can get rid of it.
That's right. Phil Peden, Engineering. Yes, this is a list of our water main replacement projects listed as a prioritization based on a number of factors. So there's a team of folks from engineering that I want to give credit to developing this list, but Assistant GIS Coordinator Jordan Kiso, Matt Dabberton, and Caden Swanson helped create this list and the ranking factors that were put into that. So this is information that we carry in the GIS system: pipe diameter, age, material, and number of breaks. We've been tracking that for a number of years, and I believe the break data goes back to early 1980s. So a lot of communities don't have that. And so when you go to these seminars where they talk about how you're going to develop your water main replacement prioritization, it's all about data and what you have going back. So we're lucky that we had a lot of main break data, unfortunately, but also lucky that we have it. So this is how we did that. We ranked those and then gave them a score of 1 to 5, and we were able to get all the number ones, which was the way chosen to say the worst, in this list of 30. So that's what we prioritized. Happy to answer any questions. We're looking at also, you'll see this evolve over the next few years. We're going to constantly look to, I guess, make this more accurate. Things change, and so this is consistently changing as we learn about more breaks. There's a lot of criteria that's not in our GIS that we want to add to this. In fact, we had a company come in and give us a seminar on how they can use AI to develop a way to sort this data. And they'll take a lot of exterior data outside of just the GIS data, but weather conditions, soil conditions, things like that, and train the AI to where it will predict where the main breaks are. They've had success in other communities. Unfortunately, the water budget isn't allowing us to pay for that service at this time, but we hope in the next few years we can do that. So we're doing our best at this time. Like I say, we would like to add data where we could prioritize based on the paving list off of criticality, whether it's closer proximity to a school or the hospital, something like that. Got a whole list here, but basically we expect that we will refine this list over the years, but we wanted to have something in front of you that we're starting from.
This is great, by the way. Are there any questions or comments for Phil?
Sorry, okay. This is fantastic. It's just amazing to me that the AI technology that you shared with us, I mean, that's just crazy. So I'm going from the magic 8-ball to tell us whether or not there's gonna be a break to actual data. But in terms of this though, I mean, I can see how you've ranked it. Does this mean that these would be, like, you'd wanna start at number 1 and we're gonna work our way through? Or it's kind of like we're gonna
Honestly,
now make a master plan based on these?
Honestly, to me, they made that list. Then from there, we really need to develop where they would go in order from there. I went ahead and based it off a number of breaks to get 1 through 30, but I think if it's on the 30 list, then we'll be strategic. Oh, that one's on the paving list sooner. We're going to move forward with that first before we do one that's not.
Yeah.
So
it's not just operating in a silo, it's also looking at what other projects are going on too. The time frame to get these done, is there, I mean,
There's
is this
no-
something that you're saying this, this is our 1 to 2 year plan,
Yeah.
our 3-year plan?
we don't have estimates on those yet. We've done 8 to 10 water main replacements in a year when we had the $2 to $3 million budget. Obviously, we're short on budget now, so it won't be to the new rate case. So we've got a year and a half or so, whenever that rate case comes through before we can start doing those. But then I suspect, depending, and if you look, one of those is 2,400 feet. So that'll eat up a big chunk of
Exactly.
1 year's budget.
And then my last question is, I like too that you've talked about the neighborhoods that would be affected. What about the East 3rd Street? It says NA. Where is that?
So there's one right near the 10th, the bypass, right at 3rd and the bypass.
At 3rd and the bypass is one, okay.
And the other one's further
3rd and
east.
the bypass, 3rd.
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, CVS.
Okay, the corner there. Okay, yeah, okay.
It crosses I believe it crosses the intersection on the north side of 3rd
Yeah.
Street.
So that's one of them, and then what's the other?
Further east, near Park Ridge.
Thank you. Those were my questions. Thanks.
Questions? Mr. Sherman?
Yeah, thank you, Phil. This is nice.
If you want, I don't know if you have logins to GIS, but Jordan created this really great interactive map where you can choose, I just want to see the ones that were ranked the highest, or I want to see 1s and 2s. And then it highlights red, orange, yellow, green, and then you can see where they're at within the city, and then how they align with, say you had a 1 and a 2 and they were adjacent, you could see where you could tie those together as one project. So, and it turned off all the other layers. It was just very helpful to kind of analyze the.
I encourage you guys to keep putting as much data as you can into these things, because if there's good data in, then we can get good data out, And so it's fantastic. This is great.
Well, in fact, we met on that about a month ago as a team, a lot of the ADs and the T&D staff, to say, okay, you had a main break. What data can we collect? Water temperature, what were the pumps doing at the time? Was there an activity? Were we flushing in this neighborhood? And just seeing what data was available, so that the more data we can start to record, and maybe in a year, then we could throw it in the AI and see if there's a deciding trend with that data. You might find that one of those elements that you weren't looking at really tells you the most about main breaks.
Yeah, I thank you again, Phil. I noticed that our pretty large number of these are on Fritz Terrace. Is that a really
Yeah, what-
problem area right now?
It is, James could speak on that, but what happens is they go in a certain time frame. It could be the soil type there. It could be they all went in a certain era of time when the manufacturers were using a specific type of pipe, or that manufacturer of that pipe, because we have different brands of pipe that create ductile iron. And so there's one brand that caused more breaks. And so if that brand got used when that contractor built Fritz Terrace, then you see a lot more breaks. Or the contractor did something when they did the install. There's so many different factors, but you can see that once it starts in that neighborhood, you get a lot of the pipes in the neighborhood all at once.
So, recalling a few years back, I remember, Vic talking about taking the approach of there's a certain percentage, given the lifespan of these systems, that we need to replace every year. And I'm just wondering if we're continuing on with that approach for water and stormwater, and how this fits in with that.
Well, we were doing our best. I feel like with the $2 to $3 million budget we had, before water money got tight. So we don't have any available this year for doing it, or next year before the rate case comes through. So I think what you start to realize, the more research you do, and as we talked about taking the data, we found that the older pipe doesn't have the breaks. So the more you look at the data, the more you realize where your focus should be. And so you see an era of 1950 to 1969 pipe that has the most breaks. So that should be the highest priority. The pre-1950, you're not seeing the breaks or the problems. So
it's a much more nuanced approach than just a percentage that we were talking about a few years ago.
yeah, so I think, we're not replacing everything when it hits 100 years old, because a lot of that pipe's still good, but we are being more efficient at how, when we do make a replacement, that we're replacing the ones that need it the most.
My opinion only is that we should budget for this, not work ourselves into a place of where we have a deficit, an infrastructure deficit.
The challenge you get, and we thought the same approach until we got $2.5 million, say last year. It was all we could do as project management and T&D staff to keep up with. We did 8 or 10, I'm going to say, and that was about all we could do. The prices get a lot higher when you have to bid it out. You have to manage the project through, the engineering department, and so you run out of time to get more done unless, of course, we expand and get more employees that could manage the projects, or we expand T&D and we have more crews that could do it. That would be one way to do it as well. But I don't want to speak for James, but I felt like that was what we thought we could do internally. What some of those projects were more complex, or larger, whatever it was, so we weren't allowed to do them internally. But the ones that we did, they were pretty busy with those all year.
Well, just as a board member, I want to know if we get to the point where we're making decisions by not growing, where we're increasing our deficit in our infrastructure, where we really need to be more proactive.
We're certainly in a deficit with water main replacement. If you look at what we did for, the Cruzan era, there wasn't a lot of money allocated to water main replacement. It just, with the rates weren't there to allocate toward that. So we got behind. And then we tried to catch up by increase till we got from 500,000 to 2.5 million, I think. And so, again, we're making progress, but it's getting so much more expensive. Just a few years ago, what we thought we could do for 300,000 is now 800,000. So it did, it ate into the $2.5 million budget really quick. So hopefully that would be great. We get more, we'll do our best. But there is a point where staffing is limited to complete the goal.
So just to tag on to that, though, so let's all remember this conversation when we're giving positions to other departments, that they're helping them when our folks can't get the jobs done with the staff they have. I'm just bringing that up as a comment.
I'm glad you mentioned phasing this with paving projects, because that's a really efficient way to do things. So I assume you're working with Public Works to see their paving plan for the year,
Yes.
and then we try to get in there before that?
Yes.
Okay.
They don't have that available a year prior, so you get it, I think we get it February, or let's say, and so, but what they do work with us really well, so we could say, hey, we want to replace that, and then they'll put that on, they usually shift that to later in the fall.
That's great.
So that we can get to our work.
Yeah, because it really frustrates citizens when they see having to dig up something that just got paved.
Yeah, if we could see a 5-year paving list,
Yeah.
then we could really plan ahead.
And maybe now with this great list, there's opportunity to share this list with them too, at least like they know our priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
And if there is a bottleneck in terms of administering contracting, like someone mentioned, there's, maybe 10 projects at Fritz Terrace, maybe that all gets bundled into one to have a better economy of scale there in terms of the contracting and do one large project. I don't know how we budget for that right now, but we can certainly plan for something like that going forward. I don't know how the neighborhood would react either, but I mean, maybe they'd rather see it all done at once consecutively rather than a new project year after year, piecemeal.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of it's planning and then the bidding, and so, yeah, sure, I think that would save a lot of time.
Great discussion. It's been great work, Phil, to you and your team. Are there any other questions or comments?
For Phil. Do we have a motion for approval?
I move we approve the water main replacement prioritization list.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Request is approved. Thank you. Item number 8, old business. Any old business from staff? Any old business from the board? I did that backwards. It's okay. No. New business from the board. New business from staff. And subcommittee report. Mr. White.
Yeah, so Property and Planning Subcommittee met just prior to this meeting, and our mission was to really have an open discussion, hearing in for reports and information from staff and related to the concept of our future space needs here at our current site and what might be on the horizon for the Winston Thomas site. Remember, this was a follow-up from the mayor's presentation a month ago, expressing interest in arranging some, putting together some proposals for building Public Works, Department of Public Works for Civil City at our Winston Thomas site. So we brainstormed a little bit today to talk about different scenarios, thinking about what both utilities needs in a 30, 40, 50-year time frame, as well as what Department of Public Works needs. And I think as we kind of summed up the discussion, we had a list of things that Kat will take to the mayor's office to discuss with them. But in general, the committee really, I think consensus was that we want to work as closely as we can with the mayor's office and with the Civil City side to see what their needs are and really look at the big picture. Lots of different scenarios, as the mayor mentioned at her presentation to us a month ago. This site that we're currently on may be highest and best use for new housing development. So that would be a good reason for us to, and the Department of Public Works, to vacate this entire site. We also talked about if we moved Utilities Department to Winston-Thomas, this might allow the Department of Public Works to use all of this site and just connect together. Or if they moved to Winston-Thomas, we could expand on this site. So lots of good options. And I think, as I say, the consensus is that we certainly haven't decided anything. We're wide open for making sure that we make the best use of both our ratepayers and taxpayers, because on the Department of Public Works side, it will require the city council to expend a significant amount of money as well. We want to look big picture to see what, Matt, I'm kind of looking your way, to take that message back. We really feel like in big picture, we want to work together to make sure that the impact on citizens is the most efficient, and taking advantage of what we know. Both we have information that we know what we need from the studies we've done and our space needs, and we need to make sure that we know what DPW needs as well, so that we can make best use in the big picture and think long term. So there's our report.
Very great.
Yeah, follow-up question. Has there been more conversation with the mayor or her staff about those options? I was here at the board meeting where she initially laid that out, Deputy Mayor Knapp. Has there been more conversation exploring those options?
We have not, but one of the things we discussed, Matt, was perhaps a joint meeting between, Seth mentioned, we might put a meeting together between the Board of Public Works and the USB to talk about some brainstorming as well.
And we did ask to get on her agenda, but she was not available. So we couldn't for scheduling wise. So we opted as the board to at least lets us get together and get all of our questions in line. So, but we've not had any further personal discussion with her. And I don't think staff has either.
Matt, you ought to be at such a meeting.
Yeah, and potentially other council members as well. I mean, yeah, to Kirk's point about the overall financial efficiency of, across multiple units in a sense, or, revenue basis, yes, we should have the city council involved in that.
Great discussion in the subcommittee. Looking forward to follow-up answers and to see what comes from our suggestions. Anything else? Subcommittee-wise? All right, staff reports.
Right, yeah, I got a couple items for us today. First, we'd like to welcome Preston Souders. He'll be joining us in T&D as Utilities Specialist 1. I also have some congratulations for Joel Pontius, the Conservation Energy Resource Manager. He earned his Sustainability Practitioner credential. And Christy Lindberg, our environmental programs. She was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Hoosier River Watch and IDEM for over 20 years of volunteering with the Hoosier River Watch.
That's awesome.
That's my staff report.
Next is petitions and communications. Any petitions and communications from the public? Hearing none, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn.